In this video, I'm going to take you through the structure of an example assignment, highlighting how you can apply critical analysis throughout and incorporate theory in the places it matters. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Yardley, and for the last 20 years, I've been teaching sociology, criminology, and social policy in UK universities. In that time, I've helped thousands of students implement simple, straightforward processes to understand what critical analysis actually is and bring theory into every assignment they do. Before we get on to today's topic, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Also, be sure to grab this assignment planner PDF to map out your assignments and assure that they're well structured, critical, and theory driven. It is completely free when you sign up to my email list, so you'll get a dose of study inspiration from me every Wednesday straight into your inbox, and you'll get the assignment planner. What's not to like? Okay, let's dive in. If you look at the learning outcomes, the marking criteria, the marking rubric for any assignment in social sciences, you'll see that things like critical analysis, application of theory, and a logical structure are essential in achieving the higher grades. But how do you ensure that your assignment ticks all of those boxes? Let's take a look at an example assignment and explore how we can get you there. Here's the question. Critically consider the value of a zemiological approach to poverty. Okay, so what this assignment is asking you to do is make a judgment about the value of a theory, zemiology, in making sense of a social problem, poverty. So how should your assignment begin? Your assignment should begin with an introduction. What needs to be in the introduction? Open it with a powerful quote or a statistic, something you've come across in your reading about zemiology or poverty, something that grabs the reader's attention and ensures that your assignment stands out from everyone else's. It might be something like how many people around the world live in poverty. It might be about changes in that number. It might be about the amount of money some people have to live on in a day, or how much they earn in a week. It might be a quote from a leading zemiologist. Just make sure it's something relatable, powerful, and compelling. Then you need to explain the question in your own words. For example, this essay will explore how valuable zemiology is in understanding poverty, or this presentation will consider the extent to which zemiology is helpful in making sense of poverty. This helps you show the person grading the assignment that you genuinely understand what it is that you've been asked to do. After this, you contextualize. You draw the reader's attention to the bigger picture. You explain why now is an important time to consider this question. You emphasize why it's important. Why does it matter? For example, this is an important question to explore at this point in time, given the current cost of living crisis and the increasing gap between the richest and the poorest in society. You might want to cite some statistics here, or some recent studies or government reports that have come out about poverty. The last thing you do in your introduction is provide the reader with a map of this assignment. Tell them what you're going to be covering in the assignment and the order that you're going to follow. For example, this essay will commence with a critical outline of the key terms and definitions, followed by the person marking your work will now have a good grasp of the structure and the content, which is a great start. Next, you need to demonstrate your understanding of the key terms and definitions. So look at the title of the assignment and highlight the nouns. The nouns are the words that represent people, places, or things. In this example, the nouns are poverty and zemiology. In this instance, I would explain poverty first, and then I would move on to define zemiology, because poverty is the thing that we're trying to understand. Zemiology is the theory that we are applying to it. Look at the essential readings that you've been asked to do for the module or unit that this assignment relates to. That is the first place to look for definitions. And it's always worth including more than one definition, as this is a key opportunity to demonstrate critical analysis. Really think about the definitions, compare and contrast them. Does one emphasize something that another one doesn't? When were these definitions established? Are they relevant today? Who are they used by? Are there any differences between the way a government or organisation define poverty, for example, and the way that poverty is defined in the books that you're reading for your classes? This section is a really good opportunity to highlight any controversies or disagreements that you can pick up on later in your assignment. Next, you're moving on to the main body of your assignment, which you need to divide up into between 3 and 5 key themes. Themes are ideas around which you can organise your content so that you're able to produce a comprehensive assignment that covers all the ground that it needs to, whilst at the same time being ordered logically, with one section following on from and building upon the previous one. Themes are distinct but related. They each cover a particular element of the question, and when they're all put together, they provide you with the material to answer the question. So, for example, in this assignment, you might have 3 distinct themes. The first theme might explore the established traditional ways of explaining poverty and highlight what zemiology brings to the table. What does it do that previous theories didn't? What does it help us understand that other theories have neglected? To what extent has poverty changed in the time that all of these theories have been around? What does this imply in terms of the kind of theory we need to apply to understand it today? Here, you are going to be demonstrating a particular type of critical analytical skill, interpretation. This involves looking at the application of a theory, looking at how it's applied, to whom it's applied, why there's a need for it, what gap has it filled. Draw upon some examples, look at cases or particular types of poverty that weren't really adequately explained by the previous theories. What has zemiology contributed towards our understanding? The second theme might consider current applications of zemiology in academic work. In relation to poverty, to what extent has it actually been applied to understanding this topic? Here, you would need to do a deeper dive into the literature. Use Google Scholar to identify books or papers that include the terms zemiology and poverty within them. Go to the search bar in Google Scholar and type in poverty and zemiology. Download some of the items that you find and have a good read through them. What can you see in these items? What is being covered? What topics are emerging? Is zemiology only looking at particular things when it comes to poverty? What patterns and trends can you see in how zemiology is being applied? Here, you're focusing on the practical application of the theory, how it's being used. Is it being used in the way it was intended to be used? Look at the papers and the books that you're discovering. To what extent are they applying the zemiological principles or core ideas? Are elements of previous theories starting to creep in anywhere? What has a zemiological approach resulted in these pieces of work? Is it generating new insights and new ideas? To what extent are these ideas actually realistic? Is what they are saying consistent with the definitions that you outlined earlier? There is the theory of zemiology that you outlined in the key terms and definitions, and then there is what you are seeing in these studies. How is it currently working in practice? Think back to the context, the bigger picture that you examined in the introduction here. Again, draw on examples that help you illustrate the points you're making. The third theme would focus on another critical analytical skill, evaluation. Here, you're forming a judgment about the value of a zemiological approach. How convincing is it? How comprehensive is it in thinking about poverty? How does it fare in relation to the other, more established theories? Is it emerging as a key player or a leading actor in this field? Or is it a small fish in a big pond? Is it a supporting actor who's on the stage but not really being noticed or accorded much importance? What overall contribution does it make to knowledge and understanding in this area? What happens when it's applied? Does the evidence it's drawn upon in relation to poverty stand up to scrutiny? Has it considered all of the potential angles, and should it have done? Because no one theory can do everything after all. Do we need to consider how it might benefit from incorporating some of the ideas or approaches of the other theories? Do we need to combine it with other schools of thought or other ways of thinking? What are its strengths and weaknesses? Where would you rank it overall in terms of its usefulness for and relevance to making sense of poverty? Now, you're moving on to the final section of your assignment, the conclusion. Here, you wrap up the assignment. You provide a brief recap of the main points. How do you do that? You go back through each of the 3 themed sections that you've written and you summarize each one of them in 1 or 2 sentences. You then take those summary sentences and use them in your conclusion. Then you need to provide a direct response to the assignment question. In this example, you might say something like, a zemiological approach to poverty is valuable in that, and then briefly explain why. However, it fails to, and then briefly explain the shortfalls of it. The last thing you need to do is end with a power statement. You started the assignment with a powerful opener. So what you need to do here is provide a powerful closer. Leave the grader with a great impression. You could pose a new question which tackles something that came up in your assignment. You might consider where we'll be 5 or 10 years from now. Will zemiology still be relevant then? It's important to emphasize that you shouldn't include any new arguments in the conclusion. Anything you think of that comes up whilst you're writing the conclusion needs to be integrated into the main body of your assignment. It belongs in one of those 3 themed sections. And that is your outline of a critical, theoretically informed, well-structured assignment. Don't forget to download your free assignment planner when you sign up for my email list, so you can start implementing the things I've shared with you right now, today. The link is in the description, and I will be back very soon with more tips on how to ensure you're engaging with theory and being critical in your assignments.